Chocolate Paradise. Killua had decided to drag you, his partner of 2 years, to the grand opening of the new chocolate workshop that had just opened in the next town over from Heaven's Arena, where you had been staying in order to grab some quick cash that you were soon to most definitely blow. Killua, hurry up, or we're going to miss the ribbon cutting, you called. You had decided to wake up early, something incredibly unusual for you. Some days having only waken up from either your own or Killua's fights, before dropping right back down against your pillow within moments of returning to your room. To be awake enough to actually comprehend what was going on in the world around you for the day. Killua, however, and despite it being his idea, was not so punctual. I'm coming. Don't you dare leave without me, YN. Killua made his way out of the complimentary room, a rare occurrence as he mostly found himself crashing at yours, hopping, attempting to pull his shoe on. When he finally pulled it on, he planted his feet into the ground in front of you, his hands on his hips, his eyes met with yours. A grin appeared on his face. Well, let's go, he hollered. Killua grabbed your wrist and went to turn you toward the exit, but felt a tug. Due to his excitement to leave, the momentum of his body led him to turn and fall into your embrace. Feeling the rumble from your chuckle vibrate through his body, heat rose up Killua's cheeks, and he felt the immediate need to pull back and scream, "Baka!" at them. But he resisted the urge, curious as to what you were doing. Carefully, you reached for the collar of his shirt and eyed it. It had been half sticking up and half folded down, a clear display of very haphazardly done job. Before flattening it down to perfection and pulling it away slightly, Killua's hands rested on your hips, while yours remained stationed on his shoulders. You stared at each other for a moment before you eventually trailed your hands up the sides of his face to his hairline, Killua watching your movements very closely. You gently intertwined your fingers with his soft fringe and brushed through it. You could only assume that through the rush, he somehow managed to forget to brush his hair. Are you done perfecting me, YN? He asked with a laugh, face still slightly tinged pink. You moved a few locks of his hair before stepping away and looking at your scruffy chocolate-loving sweetheart. Once more you looked over him before smiling. You look perfect, Kill, you admired. Killua looked away as to not let you see his ruby red face. Yeah, whatever, you loser. Let's go already, come on. He gushed, dragging you down the hall. You felt a smile pull at your lips. The building was beautiful, whether it was the fact that someone could see all the types of chocolate and chocolate product dispensers through the giant glass window in the front of the store, or the wonderfully modern and almost futuristic design. You couldn't quite tell. The opening ceremony was nothing to frown at either. It was a sight to behold. The ribbon in the front of the workshop was actually made entirely of chocolate, and so, rather than simply cutting the ribbon, they had broken pieces of it off and thrown them into the crowd. Killua was lucky enough to be at just the right spot, while you were lucky enough to have a boyfriend that loved you more than he loved chocolate. It was a close competition that you ended up winning by being the one that supplied him with the chocolate, and for that he would be eternally grateful, even if it was a loophole you'd happily pointed out. You ended up going halfsies on the treat. When the chocolate had been fully removed, the doors finally opened, and Killua made it a point to be the first one in, no matter what. He may have zapped a few people to get there. It was more than just a few people. Eventually, he did manage it, the whole time being sure to pull you along behind him as he reached to the front of the line and was welcomed into the store as the first ever customer, an honor he was sure to hold dear to his heart. Taking in a deep inhale, Killua grinned. God, it smells amazing in here. When? Catch me. He dramatically fell backwards into your arms. Unfortunately, you were stood right behind him and therefore unable to let him drop straight to the floor. I think I'm in heaven. And how could he not be? Not only was he surrounded by 5 lifetime supplies of chocolate, but he was also being held up by his person, the one that stood above the entire rest of the world. A true dream come true. He opened his eyes and looked up at you from your arms. He strained his back to raise towards you and pecked a short and sweet kiss against your lips before standing up and walking over to the giant display of free tasters. You made sure to follow closely behind. Now, as far as you two knew, nowhere did it say you had to be mindful of other customers. So, without much thought, you both sat down on that little kitty chair, which did not clue you in on who they may have intended the tasters for, and decided to indulge in the chocolatey buffet. Killua glanced over at you during one of his breathing breaks that only occurred every 2 to 3 minutes, and noticed something. His hand was soon reaching towards you before he carefully grasped your chin, shifting your focus from the chocolate to him. You were about to open your mouth to question his actions, but silenced yourself as you felt his thumb gently graze the corner of your mouth before making its way his own. Slightly surprised, you began to sputter out various sentence starters. What? He pulled his thumb from his lips, tilted his head, and gave you a lopsided smile. You had some chocolate on your face. Wouldn't want it to go to waste. He smiled, the sweetest smile you had ever seen graze his perfect face. Must be the chocolate, you thought, smiling fondly right back at your love. This truly was paradise. A fairly chocolatey paradise. Yo everyone. This was requested. I really have nothing really else to say or update you guys on. Just that, this was requested, and be sure to look out for a new series coming up. Don't mind the background noise, that's my brother. I'm in the living room. And the air freshener, of course. Anyways, have a good night, have a good morning, have a good afternoon, whenever you are, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye everyone.